Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Music Monday, and today is going to be the first music Q&A. So I put out on Instagram about a week and a half ago to ask questions that are related to music, and here are your questions, and these are going to be my answers. So I'm going to go from the bottom all the way up. So the first question is, did you ever listen to a foreign metal band? I understand that English isn't the first language of most of my followers because a good percentage of my followers are actually from Europe, so did I ever listen to a foreign band, or do I ever listen to foreign bands? Most bands I listen to are technically foreign to me because the Australian metal scene is it's almost dead. There are a few really good metal bands, but we don't have a huge scene like Norway, Sweden, UK, all of those countries. But yeah, most of the stuff I listen to is foreign bands. Next question, what band solidified your preference to metal music? I don't exactly have a precise answer to this because I grew up with metal music. I grew up with Pantera, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Kiss, Alice Cooper. I guess you could say all of them because they're the things that I listened to as I was growing up. Next question is, what is a song that you find strangely sexy to listen to? I guess She Rides by Danzig, but also, I know this one's probably going to sound strange, but My Twin by Catatonia as well. Also, To Bid You Farewell by Opeth. I know the latter two are quite sad songs, but I don't know why. It's yeah, whatever. Next question. Favorite Marilyn Manson or Sisters of Mercy songs? You guys know that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Marilyn Manson, but if I did have to choose one of his songs, it would probably be... I kind of like that song Lamb of God by Marilyn Manson, but I'm not really the biggest fan of Marilyn Manson. Sisters of Mercy, however, I would probably have to choose No Time to Cry, even though I prefer the Cradle of Filth version of it. Unpopular opinion, I know, but yeah, I prefer the Cradle of Filth version of No Time to Cry, but I really like the Sisters of Mercy one as well. Also Dominion, I really like Dominion by Sisters of Mercy. Next question, what is your go-to song that will always cheer you up when you're sad? This may sound strange, I don't know how many other people do this, but when I'm sad, I don't listen to anything to cheer me up. I listen to other sad songs. I tend to listen to music that convey my emotions at that point in time. When I'm happy, I listen to more upbeat stuff. When I'm angry, I listen to like Destruction Overdrive is kind of like my anthem for my angriness by Black Label Society. But yeah, I tend to listen to the music that suits my current mood, not to get me out of the mood. So when I'm sad, I listen to a lot of the slower Opeth songs, like Damnation Deliverance albums particularly, also the Still Life album, Catatonia, some Paradise Lost, Amorphous is another one I listen to when I'm sad. Also the song The Chosen Pessimist by In Flames, from my favorite album of theirs, A Sense of Purpose. The next question, favorite Motionless in White song? Currently it would probably be Eternally Yours. Next question is favorite Ghost song or favorite concert you've been to? I've already answered the favorite concert I've been to in a previous video. So favorite Ghost song is Con Clavi Con Dio. That's my ultimate favorite Ghost song. Very closely followed by From the Pinnacle to the Pit. What is your opinion on K-pop? Do you listen to it? And if so, do you have a favorite band? I know of K-pop, but I've never delved into that world, so I don't know any of the artists. I couldn't name you a song. I don't know what they do. I guess they're really well-dressed people? I don't know. That's the opinion I have on it, is I don't know their music, but they look well-dressed and coordinated. Have you ever had any embarrassing music phases? What's your ultimate guilty pleasure genre? Also, I've said in a previous video that I am not embarrassed about any of the music I listen to, so I don't really have a guilty pleasure genre or embarrassing music phases. Although my husband likes to make fun of me because 10, 11 years ago I did like Avenged Sevenfold, and I can say that I still like a couple of their songs from their first 2 albums, particularly the song Unholy Confessions. I still listen to that these days, and yeah, I quite like it. Next question, do you actively listen to good mood music when you don't feel so? Like I said before, I listen to music that depicts that current mood. I listen to all kinds of music, blah blah blah, but every time I hear the Disney Pocahontas song Colors of the Wind, I start to cry. Do you also have an embarrassing music secret? I cry at Annie. Yeah, Annie the musical, I cry. Plus I know all the songs out of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and most of them out of Repo the Genetic Opera. I like musicals, so I tend to know a lot of the songs. Next question, what kind of music do you want at your own funeral? Well, if it was perfectly legal, I would have myself taxidermed because I would want to sit at my own funeral and just freak people out, but that's not legal in most countries. As for music at a funeral, I would probably choose To Bid You Farewell by Opeth. What's your favorite subgenre of metal? It would probably be somewhere in between black metal, doom metal, not so much the symphonic side. I mean, I like symphonic black metal, symphonic metal in general, but I generally sway towards the Black Death, doom kind of area. Things that have a really nice melody to them, also incorporates incredible guitar riffs and technical abilities. I'm a sucker for songs that show off technical prowess in not such a over-the-top way, I guess, if that makes any sense. Next up, what do you think about bands that changed their style into something completely different from what they started, like Opeth and Tristania? I understand that there is a natural progression with music, bands, and people in general, but Opeth disappointed me because it seemed like they had formed such a beautiful sound that had worked really well and also was incredibly unique. And it felt like all of a sudden one day they just ditched it and decided to move more towards a 70s prog rock sound. I mean, I like 70s prog rock, but I listened to Opeth for that beautiful technical ability that they had come to master over the last 20 years. So the Opeth one really, really disappoints me. Same with In Flames. Next question, what's your favorite song by Lana Del Rey? It would probably be either Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood from the Honeymoon album. I also really like Cola, Brooklyn Baby, and Carmen. I like a lot of her songs, most of them in fact, so it's hard to choose a song. Next question comes from a regular. His name's Brian and he's such a sweetheart. What first got you interested in the goth subculture and metal music? My parents and my uncles, so I grew up around it. Next question, what do you think of Behemoth? I fucking love Behemoth. Absolutely adore the shit out of that band. Favorite black metal artists? I'm just going through my iTunes just into the category of black metal because it's really hard to break these genres down between, you know, black metal, symphonic black metal, death metal, doom metal, all of those. Like, they do have their specific sounds, but when they're listed on iTunes, it's crazy. So out of what I have, Burzum, I've been listening to Burzum for about 13 years now. Bathory a little bit, Dark Throne a little bit, Dimmu Borgir, I hope I say that right, I probably sound like a moron, but on and off. I'm I think that Dimmu Borgir are kind of hit and miss. I really like some of their songs, but I genuinely dislike others. Immortal, I think that anybody who listens to black metal at all know who Immortal are, not just because they are part of memes, but also the fact that they're kind of one of the quintessential black metal bands. Satyricon, huge fan of Satyricon. Behemoth, they consider themselves black metal. I love Behemoth. Cradle of Filth, they consider themselves extreme metal, but they do cross over, particularly with their older albums, into black metal territory. I love Cradle of Filth. Krach Angren, I've been listening to a lot of them, and my husband is a huge fan of them as well. He's, you know, even more a fan of them than I am. I have a couple songs by Goat Whore, but admittedly I don't listen to them very often. And also Nagaroth. I have a few songs by them, but I don't really listen to them that often. Every now and then, but typically not that often. Next question. I got this one a few times, but opinions on Babymetal. Babymetal, hold on. Babymetal, isn't that the, is it 3 or 5 chicks who... I'm gonna have to look this one up, hold on. Okay, so I'm looking at Babymetal, and from my first impressions, their outfits are fucking awesome. They look like 10-year-olds. That's so cute. Now, I'm going to look up one of their songs and... oh my goodness, I hope I don't absolutely hate them. Now, before I get into this, if you are a fan of Babymetal, don't come for me if I don't like them. It's all about opinion. So I'm going to go to their most viewed video, which is Give Me Chocolate. Interesting. Once I get past the Uber ad. They're very coordinated. I've never seen people actually dance to heavy metal. This is totally not what I expected. I thought they were going to like blow me away with like some awesome screaming or something like that. I don't know what to say, to be honest. Musically, the instrumentalists that they don't show much. If I'm being completely honest, from my impressions of Babymetal, it seems like just a bit of a, you know, kind of a shock value thing. These 3 very attractive, quite young looking females with heavy metal in the background, and their cutesy little voices, so it seems like a bit of a... it's definitely something that I see as being a acquired taste, I guess, but yeah, definitely not for me. There you go. Don't come for me if you're a fan, okay? It's just an opinion. Next question. Is it possible to like different kinds of genres and still be considered goth? I like rock, metal, classic, and sometimes indie, but some people say that I'm a poser. I just have a deep appreciation for good music. I think you've put it in your own words the best way that I can. You have an appreciation for music. Just because you don't listen to one genre doesn't mean you can't consider yourself goth, I guess. If everyone's honest with themselves, nobody likes only one genre of music. There's always, like, someone can be, you know, totally into black metal, but every now and then they'll like something out of another genre. Next up, I am curious about your music. In what way do you create it? You sing or play an instrument? I sing and I play an instrument, and my husband plays an instrument, and well, I play 2. I play piano, and I'm doing bass lines for my music, but my husband plays guitar, so he's going to be doing rhythm and lead, just until we can find you know, people we trust to be in a band with. And I'm probably just gonna pay someone to do the drumming for the track, the first track that I put out, because I can't be bothered trying to find a drummer, especially when there's not many in my area. It seems like everybody's a guitarist. Next up, what is your favorite Deftones song? Again, Deftones is one of those bands that are really hit and miss for me, but my favorite song is Diamond Eyes. That came out like a decade ago, I think. Next up, how important is music to you, and what music did you listen to when you were younger? Music is incredibly important to me. I spend most of my day listening to it while I work, while I clean, while I cook. I make music, I love music. It's a way for me to vent frustrations, just, yeah. And music that I listened to when I was younger, I listened to whatever my parents did, so it was mainly metal, and yeah, I guess I'm carrying the torch for them. What is your favorite type of vocals, male or female? If I'm being completely honest, it would probably be male when they have the ability to go between really nice clean vocals but also a really deep, gritty, dirty vocal. And that is one of the reasons why I love Opeth, is because Michael Ackerfeld has this uncanny ability to go between such a beautiful deep growl to a very emotive clean voice. With female vocals in metal, I really like when they are juxtaposed against a tough voice, I guess. I do like how some female vocalists within metal, such as Alyssa White-Gluz, she has an amazing growl. And she can do a decent clean voice. She used to demonstrate that a lot with her old band, The Agonist. But I really like how Cradle of Filth, with most of their albums, they have placed Danny Filth's harsh, incredible vocal range against a lady with also incredible vocals, but it provides that feminine juxtaposition against Danny Filth, and I really like how they do that. What lyrics do you relate to the most? It would all depend on my mood, and it's hard to pinpoint one that picks my exact feelings, but that's why I write my own music, because it is my feelings on a piece of paper and then put into a song form. So there is something out there that describes my exact feelings. Like, actually, I was talking about it today because there's 2 songs that I'm going to be releasing, hopefully by the end of this year, if not early next year, and they're called Return to the Mother and Horse. Horse is an inside joke, so only certain people would know what that's about, but it's actually a really angry song at the same time. The song Horse I wrote when I was so fucking angry because I was completely used and backstabbed by someone who I thought was a friend. And I don't really let people get that close to me because I'm scared that they do this exact thing. And yeah, the song was just venting my frustration. Next question is actually really funny because my husband and I have an inside joke about this. Are you a fan of Suicide Silence new music? I love them, but it saddens me that Mitch Lucker passed away. I really liked Suicide Silence's first 2 albums. The Cleansing is still something that I listen to a lot, the first album. And yeah, the song Bludgeoned to Death, I know sounds so harsh, but it actually has a lot of I don't know, meaning to my husband and I with our relationship. So yeah, it's such a strange song, but it was the song that was playing during a very pivotal time in our life. But we listened to one of their new songs, Suicide Silence's new songs, and what? Doris, I think it was called? What was that? There was one particular sound at the chorus that was like Tee-hee! Tee-hee! It sounded like a practice vocal gone wrong, or I don't know, it was completely strange. It caught me off guard. We had such a big laugh about it, and now it's become kind of a joke to us. What do you think about the band Him? Well, they're not a band anymore. Well, as soon as they're finished their current tour, but they're no longer going to be a band, which is quite upsetting, because I am a huge fan of Ville Valo. But yeah, at least they made a lot of good music in their time, I guess, so we can cling to that. They've been a band for like 20 years now, so they had a really good run. What music genres that are non-metal are you listening to, or most listen to? Mostly folk and classical outside of metal, but I do dabble in 80s, yeah, 80s pop. I do like a little bit of the 1940s, 1950s blues as well, and some of the jazz singers. Yeah. Next up, do you like The Cure? What's your favorite song by them? I do like The Cure, but I don't like all of their music. I know people who are hardcore, die-hard Cure fans who think it's like blasphemous for me to not like some of their songs. But out of the ones I do like, I would say Pictures of You is probably my favorite, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of The Cure, but I do like some of their music. What kind of music does your daughter listen to, and do you make her listen to metal? I don't force her to listen to anything. If she wants to listen to whatever she wants, then within reason, we allow her. She's younger, so she's not allowed to, we don't have regular television, so there's no kind of, shows for her to watch to gain insight into modern music, but she gets exposure to modern music from, modern pop music from my siblings and stuff, and her school. She does like Lady Gaga because of that. Some of Lady Gaga's songs she's not allowed to listen to because there's explicitives in it. Yes, I'm that kind of parent. She's quite young, so I don't really want her learning swear words or anything like that. I want to keep her, at the age and maturity level I think she should be at. I want her to be a child. I grew up way too fast. I knew things that people shouldn't have known way too young. But yeah, she likes Lady Gaga. She really likes Peter Gabriel, particularly because he did the soundtrack to Wall-E, and Down to Earth is one of her favorite songs. But she also really likes, there's a song by Dream Evil, The Book of Heavy Metal, which every time it'll come on, she sings that. She absolutely adores that song. She likes a bit of our metal. Actually, her ultimate favorite song is It You by Vumskut. She calls it the spooky Halloween song, but she loves that. One of her other favorite songs is by Björk, Crystalline, and she loves Lana Del Rey. So that's typically what she listens to. But yeah, she likes metal, and she really wants to go to a metal concert, but we don't force it on her. If she came home one day and said, I want to listen to Britney Spears, as long as it's not overly sexualized or there's swearing and stuff in it, then it's okay. I mean, she is allowed to listen to music that does have a couple swear words in there, because she understands the difference between what she's allowed to say and what adults are allowed to say. But I don't like every second word. Even in music I listen to, I don't like every word being a swear word because I find it tacky. Next up, what do you think about Nightwish and Within Temptation? I quite like Nightwish. Within Temptation, not really, I'm sorry. What's your favorite Cradle of Filth music video? And Cradle of Filth album. My favorite Cradle of Filth album, I've said multiple times, is Midian, very closely followed by Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder. My favorite film clip would probably be the film clip to the song Babylon AD, So Glad for the Madness. I know it's a very confronting natured film clip, but that's why I liked it, because I found that It helped with the song, but also it helped with the disturbing nature of the song, but also it's when it finally clicks what you get what the film clip's about, it's just, I wouldn't recommend watching the film clip if you are sensitive to rape and violence and stuff. So yeah, it's very confronting in nature, I guess. But also I really liked the film clip aesthetic wise to Nymphetamine. I think that's a really, really beautiful song, but also the film clip had such a dark beauty to it as well. Another one, do you like Nightwish or Evanescence? I don't mind Nightwish, and I know that some of you guys are going to want to throw spears or something at me. Spears or bricks, take your pick. I don't really like Evanescence. Do you listen to any other German bands besides Rammstein? Yes, I do. I listen to a lot of German music. I feel a sense of kind of pride, I guess. Heaven Shall Burn is one of my husband and mine favorite metal bands, and they're incredibly nice guys. We met them when they were on their Brisbane tour. Oh gosh, would be like 2013 maybe? 2012, 2013? I think it was 2013, but yeah, it was amazing, and they were really, really nice guys, and yeah, Marcus Bischoff, that's the lead singer's name, he's fantastic, really good guy. And a lot of the dark electronic and industrial music that we tend to listen to are German as well. It seems like Germans have the industrial sound, you know, done to a T. I mean, look at Rammstein. They have broken into mainstream success. They're fabulous. Is there any genre of metal you don't like? No, not really, but a genre that I don't have as many musical loves within is probably thrash metal, also metalcore and all these core genres. I don't really listen too much from them. What's my favorite metal band? I've already answered that in a full video about my top 10 favorite bands. I'm wondering if you and Mr. Phillips have always had such similar tastes in music. Yes. As long as I've known him, he's been into metal and I've been into metal. Before we even met is when he started to get into metal. But we tend to like pretty much the same things. It's, yeah, I don't know. We know each other very well with the fact that, especially with our musical tastes. I know that his ultimate favorite band is Amon Amarth. He fucking loves Amon Amarth. But he tends to go for definitely technical guitar stuff. So he loves Amon Amarth, he loves Lamb of God, Devil Driver. He tends to sway towards more speed metal and Viking metal. But me, I am more into the black and doom genres. But we do like each other's music. I fucking love Amon Amarth. I love Lamb of God. But they're higher up on his list for him, and yeah, as you can see from my top 10, I'm across the spectrum. What is your favorite non-metal or non-rock song besides classical music? Okay, because I was going to name the 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky, because that's one of my ultimate favorite songs. I would probably say either As the World Falls Down or Within You by David Bowie from the Labyrinth soundtrack. I adore both of those songs. They're just, yeah, love them so much. What is one band or artist you are embarrassed to admit you like? Nobody. I'm not embarrassed by any of the music I listen to. What songs or song would you recommend for a person who is interested in the alternative style in general? I wouldn't know, because I don't know whether people prefer screaming or clean vocals. I don't know people's preferences, and alternative just means it's a blanket statement from everything from like scene to goth to you know, punk, rock, indie. It's kind of everything that is not part of the mainstream pop success group. So that is such a blanket question. I'm just not sure how to answer it. I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that one. Do you and your husband have a certain song? I'm sure a lot of people will say the same thing. Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. What band do you think is overrated? Do you listen to emo music? Do I still listen to emo music? I don't know how to answer that one. I've never really listened to what's considered emo music. I've had people try to get me into the bands like Black Veil something? Something like that. Black Veil, I'm thinking Black Veil Brides, but I could be completely wrong. I've had so many people try to get me into that band, but it's just horrid. It just sounds like it's not for me at all. Sorry for that completely rude interruption. Someone from the internet company decided to pop around unannounced. The internet hasn't even worked properly for nearly a month, and this is the third time they showed up completely unannounced to try and fix it. Hopefully they fixed it this time, because if not, I'm not paying the next bill, because why would I pay $150 for internet that doesn't work? I think I didn't answer the last one about what band do you think is overrated. I think, gosh, I'm full of unpopular opinions. I think that Metallica is quite overrated. I think that there are thousands of more talented bands, but I do think Metallica, up until Garage Inc., were great, like fabulous. But they started to have this decline and kind of ride off just their name anyway. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. So everybody is welcome to their own opinion, and I know that some people are probably just going to dislike the video just because we disagree about one or two bands. But what can you do? There's always going to be butthurt people in the world. Next is, if you could work with any metal artist, who would it be and why? I would probably choose either... I would choose Maynard Keenan, because everything he touches is just amazing, but I don't think he would want to work with me because I'm not on his level at all. I'm not on anybody's level, so who am I kidding? I would probably say either Maynard Keenan, Corey Taylor, or either Paul Allender or Danny Filth from Cradle of Filth. The next one's in German. Bei welchem Lied kannst du die Füße nicht stillhalten? I'm pretty sure that says, what song can I not stop tapping my feet or moving my feet to? So songs that always have me in a groove, I guess. Definitely Dance Magic Dance by David Bowie from the Labyrinth soundtrack. Every time that comes on, yeah, right there. Also Modern Love by David Bowie. Also another one is The Sparrows and the Nightingales and Angry Today by Wolfsheim. What song makes you think about your daughter? Probably either Death Whispered a Lullaby or Coil, because my husband used to, when she was a baby, like very, very small, particularly the first 6 months of her life, he used to sit by her crib and play her guitar almost every night, and it was usually those two songs, because she used to listen to those songs in utero, well, because I was listening to them, so she recognized a lot of the softer Opeth songs, and also Planet Caravan by Pantera and a couple of others that are more acoustic and slow. Yeah, so my husband used to play them for her, and those particular songs always remind me of her. Next, which metal prog albums make you feel really good, zen, happy? Can you name 1 or 3? Okay. the Wavering Radiant album by Isis, Dope Throne by Electric Wizard, and also probably... It's hard to choose between Lateralis and 10,000 Days for Tool, but I'd probably go more with Lateralis because 10,000 Days does have some really sad songs on it. So yeah, to summarize, Wavering Radiant by Isis, Dope Throne by Electric Wizard, and Lateralis by Tool. If you had to pick one genre of music to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be? That is a really hard one. Can I just choose metal? Like, just in general, please? If I had to choose one subgenre of metal, it would probably be black metal or death metal. Probably more towards melodic death metal. What do you think of the band Saliva? I remember they used to be on an MTV show called Headbangers Ball, I think it was. It was a hour segment that used to run really late at night on Wednesdays, and Saliva was one of those bands that just kept popping up, and I didn't want to hear it because there were better bands on, but I'm impartial. I don't mind Saliva, but not exactly something I would reach and listen to all the time. Favorite classic rock band? Depends on how far back. I would probably choose either Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath. But if you mean like classic metal, which was a bit later on than classic rock, I'd probably go Iron Maiden. I know Paradise Lost is one of your favorite bands. What other doom metal bands do you listen to? Have you heard of My Dying Bride? Actually, I love My Dying Bride. Besides My Dying Bride, and I guess Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath I would consider more classic rock with, you know, they were kind of the precursor to doom metal. I've said before that I think it's highly regarded that Paradise Lost were kind of the cementers of doom metal. They've been around for a long time, but definitely heavily influenced by Black Sabbath. I would say besides Black Sabbath, My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost, iTunes again. I have obviously Electric Wizard, although I consider Electric Wizard like kind of doom progressive. They just have such a flowing sound to them. I really like them. Also Catatonia, definitely love Catatonia. Typo Negative, not so much. Like, I have them, I don't really listen to them that often. I can feel people just absolutely hating my guts now because I don't listen to that much Typo Negative. They've just never really been, you know, high up on my list to listen to because I prefer other things. My husband really likes Typo Negative. I don't mind them. I have quite a few songs that I like of theirs, but they're not something I would deliberately listen to all the time. November's Doom is another one actually I've been listening to a lot lately. I've been listening to an album I just bought of theirs. It's their newest one. Can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty good so far. A little bit different, but I quite like it. I have a bit of Pallbearer. I don't listen to them as much. Acid Bath is something I get in moods and I listen to a lot of them. Woods of Ypres, I think that's how you say it. Ypres, something like that. Actually, my husband and I we bought one of their albums because we started listening to them after someone said that he looks like the dead member of Woods of Ypres. I hope I'm saying that right. Gosh darn. Daylight Dies. Daylight Dies is fantastic, yet not many people know about them, and I think that they are an incredibly talented band that need more attention. They're fabulous. Stone Sour, I don't know why they're in the doom metal. I wouldn't consider them doom metal, to be honest. Amorphous, definitely. Fucking love Amorphous. And Overkill, every now and then I get in moods to listen to Overkill. Have you ever listened to any Visual Kei? I've always had a lot of issues with this word, Visual Kei bands. No, I thought it was a fashion, so I didn't know that it was an actual genre of music. Unless you're talking about like Japanese metal bands like Duran Grey and stuff, I don't mind Duran Grey. If you could bring back one musician from death, who would it be? David Bowie. 100% David Bowie. What is your favorite classical instrument and why? Okay, I grew up playing the violin because my mother played the violin. I got my first violin when I was 6 years old, and it was so cute. It was like a quarter size or a half size or something. So tiny compared to my mother's. Actually, initially I thought my mom played viola because hers was a full-sized violin, but I didn't know that mine was a half size or whatever. And so when I got older, I thought I had to size up to a viola, and I was really upset because I thought I had to go to a new instrument, which meant that I would be getting a new music teacher because my music teacher at the time, he didn't teach the viola lessons or the cello lessons. Actually, cello is one of my favorite instruments. I love the cello. It's so deep and haunting. If I could have played any instrument as a kid, I would have picked cello. Also, I really like, it's really hard to choose between classical instruments because I feel like it's really hard to have a standalone classical instrument, especially with orchestral sounds. I feel like they all kind of play off each other. Like, nobody would say, I love the bassoon. Or, well, not many people would say, I love the bassoon. But I love the sound of a bassoon when mixed into the orchestral pit. It's really hard to separate an instrument, but cello is definitely one of the ones that I would separate. I feel like stringed instruments are easier to separate from the symphony. So yeah, I would definitely choose cello, piano, and harp. They're all stringed instruments. What is one of your guilty pleasure songs? Okay, it's by a band that I typically don't really listen that much of. It's the Dandy Warhols. They're an indie rock band from the 90s and early 2000s. Most people know a small section of Bohemian Like You. That's one of the songs I really like, Bohemian Like You. But there's one particular section of that song that they used as the Olympics theme song for the 1996 Olympics, I think it was. It was it was the 2000 Olympics, because that was the Sydney one. So yeah, it was the year 2000 Olympics. And my biological father used to love the Dandy Warhols, and yeah, so I knew the song and I used to sing along with it with television. But yeah, Bohemian Like You and also Heroin is so passé are two songs that from a band that I don't really like or listen to. Also The Verve, they have a few songs that I don't mind, including Everybody Knows Bittersweet Symphony, also Sonnet. I really like Sonnet. What does music mean to you in a friendship? Well, music is the reason why I became friends with one of a really close friend of mine, Tash, because she reached out to me. She had a spare ticket to Lacuna Coil last year, and she reached out to me as a follower and offered me the ticket, and I wanted to pay her back, so I took her to another concert, and we go to concerts together, we go out to a goth club together, we hang out now. So she's a good friend of mine, and so music brought us together, and she's my concert buddy. I really like that. So music means a lot to that friendship, but to others, different things build each friendship, I think, because there's a basis that starts every friendship, whether it be a certain interest in like music for this instance, or it could be like I have another friend who's really into DIY and crafts, so that's our friendship basis. And yeah, it's just, it all depends. It's really flexible with the situation and the people. Mention the bands that you've seen live. Oh my god. I've seen a lot of bands live. I could be sitting here forever, but I'm just going to go with the most memorable ones. I've seen Avenged Sevenfold, Cog, The Amity Affliction, The Butterfly Effect, Breaking Benjamin once. I saw Escape the Fate, oh my gosh, back in 2007, I think? 2007 or 2000, yeah, it would have been 2007. Parkway Drive, Architects, Slipknot twice, Machine Head, Trivium, In Flames twice, Mastodon twice, Opeth 4 times, Phil Collins, Lamb of God twice, Heaven Shall Burn, oh my gosh, Meshuggah, did I already say Meshuggah? I might have. Steel Panther's actually really good live. System of a Down, Insomnium, obviously. I'm probably forgetting so many bands, but they're just the ones I can think of right now because I'm looking at the shirts and stuff that I bought at the concert, so I know that sounds horrid, but yeah. Concerts are kind of like one of the only social activities I do. You know, it's a huge part of my life and it's something I love. So instead of going, you know, out clubbing and stuff that, you know, other people do, or going out to restaurants, my husband and I go to concerts for our date night because it's something we both love, and we get to support the artists we love as well, so yeah. Next question. How many band members do you know personally? This is... See, I find name dropping quite tasteless, and I try to avoid it wherever I can. Every now and then I will, you know, say something about, oh, I was doing this with blah blah blah, as kind of like a context thing, so you know and understand what's going on, but I don't think it's right to sit here and name every band member I've met and people I talk to in my everyday life, because yeah, I don't know if that would piss them off, for one, but two, I don't want to use someone else's name to try and step myself up in society, because or socially, because I find that tasteless. I can't really listen to screamo, so could you suggest some metal bands or goth bands that aren't too extreme? I don't know how to answer this one. It sounds to me like you're trying to force yourself to like heavy metal music. Music shouldn't be forced at all. I know goths out there who don't like goth music and don't like metal, and they typically listen to just, you know, folk music and stuff, but when you have to force yourself to like something, you've got to really question yourself, and whether it's what you like and it's what you want, or it's what you think you want and what others around you think you like. So definitely, music should be a natural progression. I know people who, back in the day, in high school, who listened to lots of metal, but, you know, now listen to a lot of pop music, but there was a natural progression where they got from then and now. So I just say, keep moving. Don't force yourself to like anything. But don't be afraid to try new things. In your opinion, what is essential of a great song? I like technical prowess on instruments, and I like a decent vocal ability. Vocal ability isn't like high up on the list, but lyricism, definitely. Good lyricism that means something, technical prowess. Vocal abilities is something I can somewhat skip over. Like, they can't sound horrid, but you know, they don't have to sound fucking amazing either. And the general flow of music and having everything kind of piece in very cohesively. That's what makes a great song. Also, what is your favorite Avatar song? Bloody Angel. Bloody Angel is my absolute favorite Avatar song. So I'm going to leave the questions there because there's way too many. There was like 150 or something, and I think this video is way too long already. So, album of the week this week, quickly before I go, is The Grey Chapter by Slipknot. And I've been listening to a lot of Corey Taylor lately, so it kind of had to have him in it. I like his voice. I listen to both of his bands, and yeah, just The Grey Chapter by Slipknot is a fabulous album. I've been listening to it a lot, as well as other things, but yeah, definitely The Grey Chapter by Slipknot. And this album was very emotive because it happened at a period where Slipknot lost their bassist, Paul Gray, so it was a very emotive time for the band, and yeah, it just made for a really, really good album. It definitely blew their last album completely out of the water. So if you enjoyed this episode of Music Monday, then please give this video a like, it really helps. Also, you can share it wherever you want, or you don't have to. I don't really mind either way. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I'd love to be here for every single video. Like this video if you like these Q&As and you want to see another music Q&A. Comment down below if there's something you'd like to see on this channel, or you have any suggestions for music or albums to review or any future episodes of Music Monday, and hope you all have a fabulous day.